Hey guys, Huego from the Diablo Herald here. Just wanted to take a couple of minutes to talk about the build that I'm using currently for my monk. I've done a lot of testing in Inferno over the last couple of weeks. Was using a bit of a tanky build, but I've decided to go for something a bit more balanced for solo. I was just finding that I just didn't have enough damage to kill bosses and that sort of thing solo. Packs up like rare packs and champions I wasn't having too much of an issue, but bosses were a bit difficult. So basically this build has a lot more damage in it, and I've just gone for something a little bit different. So the idea with this build is low health and high resistance plus healing, which in the end equals a lot more effective health. So I'll just quickly show you some of the items that I have. I've got picked up this on the auction house for 20k magic dagger, 715 damage, with a just over 100 dexterity on it, which is really cool. Everything else I've pretty much stacked my arcane resistance so that I can use the passive that makes all of my resistances equal to get a huge amount of resistance. Now, one thing that I would recommend that you do is actually look for items like these braces I have here. These braces have 38 arcane resistance and 58 resistance to all elements, which is just a huge boost to my arcane resistance. And they seem to be the best items to go for monks when you're stacking one type of resistance. You get a lot more, like you're not going to find an item with 80 resistance on it. This has more than 90 resistance. So yeah, that seems to be the best way. So that's pretty much what I'm doing. Not worrying about vitality so much. I've only got 23,000 hit points, but with the resistance that I have, I've got over 60% damage mitigation. Now, I'll just give you just a little bit of theory about how the effective health and mitigation works. Basically, we have your effective health, which, if you don't understand what that is, it is just a name that people put to the amount of damage that needs to be done to your character before you die. So, just as an example, say I have 100 health. So the enemy, if I have no mitigation, the monsters need to do 100 points of damage to kill me. But if I have, say, 50% resistance, or armor that gives me 50% mitigation, then that means that damage that they do to me when they do those 100 points of damage, it's going to be reduced by 50%. So it's basically half because it's 50. So that means that instead of 100 points, it'll only be 50 points. So effectively, that 100 turns into 50, which means they need to do another 100 to actually make it equal the 100 points of damage. Therefore, my effective health would be 200 points because they need to do 200 points of damage to actually kill me, or to actually take away my 100 health points. So that's basically effective health. Now, the idea with this is to have a high amount of damage mitigation. In this case, I got 63. Now, one of my skills actually adds on 20%, an extra 20%, which brings it up to 630, which I think it makes it go up to about 67% mitigation or something like that, which is a huge amount, and that just means that my health is a lot more valuable than what it would be, say, if I had 40k health and 0 mitigation. Then on top of that, we have our healing. So the healing basically gives me back, what does my healing do? 7.5k health. Now, because of my 60% mitigation, that means that 7.5k health is actually worth a lot more. I'll just do a quick calculation here. I want to do 7,500 health times 1.6, which basically I'm just it turns that 7,500 health into 12,000 health. So that's basically, it makes the heals worth way more, and that's that's another 12,000 health every 15 seconds, because that skill has a cooldown of 15 seconds. So that's the idea with this build. I hope that's pretty clear. Try to make it really clear, but if you have any questions, just put them in the comments below and I will answer them. Sometimes it can get a little bit confusing. So now onto the skills part of it. These are the skills I've chosen. So for my primary spirit builder, I am actually using Crippling Wave. Now there is two different runes you can use for this. You can either use the Concussion, which reduces the damage coming into you, because it makes the enemies inflict 20% less damage for 3 seconds. So then you're giving yourself more mitigation, therefore increasing the worth of your health and heals on top of that. Or if you want to have more damage, you can use the Breaking Wave, which increases your damage by 10% for the next 3 seconds. So it's really up to you whether if you feel like you're dying a lot, it might be a good idea to go for Concussion. Now, in terms of the different spirit builder skills, I do prefer the Crippling Wave. It takes down packs much faster, which is good when you have like champion packs and stuff that are surrounding you. Takes them down faster than any of the other skills I found. I really don't like Way of 100 Fists, because that second attack, the animation is so long that you get stuck doing the attack, and you know, if you're in a circle of desecration or something like that, you're losing that health while you're stuck in that animation, and I've gotten caught so many times doing that, so I'd prefer Crippling Wave. So on my right mouse I've got Sweeping Wind. This just does damage to everything in a circle. This skill is really valuable. It does heaps of damage without you basically needing to do anything, and it helps you take those packs down really fast, and it also means that you kind of actually don't need to be attacking them to be doing damage. You just need to be attacking every 6 seconds so that it doesn't go away. And of course the Blade Storm rune, which increases the damage that it does to heaps. I think per tick I can do 10k damage if I've got all my buffs up and stuff like that, so it's actually a huge amount of damage. Now of course Breath of Heaven on my 1 key, which is the heal that does 7.5k, and to give myself some more damage, the Blazing Wrath rune, which increases my damage by 15%, which is actually quite a lot at this level. I think my damage goes from 13,000 DPS to about 15,000 DPS, and you really do notice the difference, so it makes a big difference, that one. But again, if you're dying too much, you could always switch to Circle of Life to increase the healing to 9,500 rather than 7.5. Defensive on my 2, Serenity, of course, the shield, and the rune that gives you some healing. That's, again, another heal that is worth a lot when you've got a lot of damage mitigation. My third skill is Seven-Sided Strike. This skill is just awesome for getting out of situations like Waller, and if you're in a corner, stuff like that. Basically makes you untargetable so that you can't be damaged. The other thing is, if you're cornered, because the enemies can't target you, they lose interest and sort of disperse, which can sometimes give you a chance to run away if you really need to. And the Sustained Attack rune, which reduces the cooldown and lets you do it more often. This is not just about the damage for me, it's about that mitigation. It's just really useful. And for the mantra of healing, of course, more healing. Now this is one, with these skills, you might have noticed that I don't really have a typical spirit spender, so I tend to use this as my spirit spender if I've just got full spirit and nothing really to use it on, because my Sweeping Wind is going, and my 7-sided strike is on cooldown, then I'll refresh this and it will buff my healing for a couple of seconds, because the healing increases when you activate it for 3 seconds to double or whatever. And then I use the Time of Need rune, which increases my resistances by 20%, as I mentioned before. Now, if you are doing awesome and you're not dying heaps, you could use Mantra of Conviction with overall, which increases your damage by a lot. So it's really up to you, like how much mitigation versus how much damage you do. It's just a matter of testing it out, and if you're dying a lot, switching to more mitigation. Yeah, so that's basically it. Passive skills, seize the initiative, of course. You need that armor, one with everything, to of course give me all those resistances. And the third one is another one where you can choose. I've really put it down to 2. Combination strike, which gives you 8% extra 8% damage, or near death experience if you're dying a lot. It pretty much, just saves you coming back from town and losing that 10% durability on your items. It saved me a lot. But yeah, if you're doing well, then combination strike's going to increase your damage. And that's basically it. I just wanted to update you guys because the build I was using before wasn't as good as this. This one's way more effective. I didn't have to spend too much on the auction house to get my resistances. It was all pretty simple. Yeah, so once again, this has been Huego, and I hope that has helped out. It's definitely a good build to use. Thanks guys. See ya.